As I sift through the debris of this week, I have many thoughts. I'm consumed by a President of the United States inciting riot on the Capitol. I'm destroyed by a fellow graduate of Princeton University preaching absolute excrement on the floor of the Senate. I'm horrified by the sheer number of people choosing to storm the Capitol. And I'm grief-stricken by seeing children and teens in the crowd that would seek insurrection on our government. Of course, I'm aware of how the police, the National Guard, the state police, and the Capitol Police seemed incapable or unwilling to hold this action by a heavily armed, mostly white group at bay. But they can put on a full military display for a much smaller group of unarmed black and brown people. What this tells me is that the United States saw itself for what it really is this week. On a day that should have been about celebrating Georgia, a place where both anti-black racism and anti-Semitism have a long history, we saw thousands of people defend one man who embodies variations of both of those hatreds. We're not coming to the end of a bad presidency. I'm sad to say that we are entering into the dawn of a true reckoning. The United States of America, which is built on native genocide, enslaved black labor, women as objects, and Christian exceptionalism, is being forced to look at the ugliest remnants, the dark underbelly, its past, and the festering sore of its present. This is not about fiscal conservatism or social restraint or self-reliance and independent spirit. This is about people who feel as if the country is being stolen from them, and a sense of unearned entitlement that is wrapped up in a deeply disturbed concept of rightness and whiteness. The current president has turned this entitlement into a brand of celebrity and hero worship that has intoxicated a population that regards itself as being put upon by those who would question why anyone would want to follow anyone else. What these violent jerks, and that's a ministerial term, what they perpetuated this week is an affront to everything that this country stands for. Or is it? The motto on the current flag of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts reads, in Latin, Ense petit placidam sub libertate quietem. By the sword we seek peace, but peace only under liberty. Elizabeth Solomon, who some of you know as an elder of the Massachusetts at Ponkapog, and who has been working directly on moving the legislation to change the flag and seal of the Commonwealth, said it best in a recent statement. The imagery of the current flag and seal promotes a history of conquest, appropriation, and genocide. In other words, it is an endorsement of violence. The motto of Massachusetts is a commitment to violence in the name of some twisted concept of liberty and peace. Give me liberty or give me death, and I'm going to kill you along the way if I don't get what I want. This is the same zero-sum equivalency that we saw play out on the Capitol this week. It's a macho, I can fight my way to victory posture that has been amplified by some politicians and by one reality TV star in particular. But I want to go back to a few things that I glanced over that happened this week, concurrent with the unimaginable horrors in D.C. Georgia elected both a black Christian pastor and a 33-year-old Jewish producer and journalist to the Senate. Massachusetts passed legislation that put us one step closer to ending the demeaning depiction of a Native person and changing the motto that endorses the violence of genocide on the state flag. I've heard a lot of people talking lately, at least, about the ways in which birth is painful and disorderly, and that it results in this glorious thing we have called life. I think that framework diminishes the unique spectacularness of birth and the creation of life. I also think that much of the pain and messiness that we are seeing right now is totally avoidable. We don't have to have racists to have justice. We don't need xenophobes to create immigration policy. We don't need anti-Semites, conspiracy theorists, far-right terrorists, or any of the deplorables that showed up at the Capitol in order to have the United States of America. We don't need any of them, but because of what this country is, we have them. And our system of government and society is telling us, though it feels unfathomable in this moment, we have to coexist with them as well. No matter how much I want the lot of them to secede to some desolate part of Texas, that is not the country I've bargained for. It is also not the ministry I've committed to. Somehow, some way, the unimaginable must happen. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, and Tucker Carlson have to shut up. The majority of people will believe and understand science. The job of politician will end and the role of legislative representative will come back into fashion. There will be a law against public action based on conspiracy theories. Information technology will be held accountable for allowing the growth of a culture of lies. Religion will not be used as a political weapon. We will recognize our shared humanity is more important than any slogan or idol worship, and so much more. Everything I named is possible. I am proof that the unimaginable is possible. So I have to believe that these things are possible as well. Some of it requires certain kinds of work, but mostly it requires that we navigate this world not with dread of those who differ from us, even if they have violence in their hearts and hands. No, we have to navigate this world with the potential of unimaginable peace, and maybe even reconciliation draped over us, pulsing through our veins and singing in our voices. No, this is not easy, and as I said, I don't actually believe it should be necessary. But this is where we are. We get the most challenging privilege to carry the banner that says, maybe unity is possible. And we get to carry it into a crowd that is chanting no. And we will do that in the hopes that even one person comes away pondering the possibility of change. What I want to leave you with today is not denial or avoidance or pie-in-the-sky thinking. Rather, I want to share a little bit of what I believe can actually help steer us as a community closer to achieving what may seem unimaginable in a good way today. I'm convinced that in a world where churches and adherents to traditional religion are weakening and dying, Unitarian Universalism, and specifically First Parish in Cambridge, are positioned to be something completely different. Not only do I want to see us live into UU values, I want Unitarian Universalism to live into First Parish in Cambridge values. I want to be part of helping this congregation emerge from this year of struggle and loss as a leader, a hub of life and vitality, innovation, creativity, and hope. To me, it's not enough that we have amazingly strong connections and presence in social justice. I want to see us become the place to train social justice leaders and thinkers. I want our commitments to the Cambridge community, our ongoing work with people experiencing homelessness, our engagement with local leaders, our support for education, our engagement with local business, to be a statewide, if not national, example. I want to find ways for us to continue and enhance our creative religious education programs so that what we do is not just for us inside the congregation, but that what we are demonstrating is a way to be in the world that inspires and invites exploration and joy and far-reaching community. I'm hungry for us to aggressively explore music as a powerful gathering force of spirit and of life, and to find ways to invite and work with young and daring artists to make their passion part of our mission, and to make it an expression of the beloved community we all talk so easily about. I want to emerge from what we have experienced politically for the last 4 years into a place where we show what it means to be the best that we can be spiritually and ethically. I want to bring together progressives and conservatives, Christians, atheists, Israeli, Palestinian, and speak truth to one another while honoring and cherishing our shared divine humanity within our differences. I believe that our real mission as First Parish in Cambridge and as Unitarian Universalists coming out of this time is to be a place that isn't content with the unimaginable, good or bad. We can't afford to be complacent to unimaginable horrors such as economic and environmental violence, racism, and domestic terrorism. And likewise, we can't afford to be complacent toward creating the unimaginable joys of compassion, truth, and wholeness. Now is our time to realize the unimaginable. Having gotten just a little taste of what happens if we let the unimaginable realize us first, it is clear we can't afford to let our imaginations run dry. God help us get there together. Blessed be.